WAGS, Bahamas Girl Guide Association, AKA, BGGA, and Signs and Symbols. This will be the first portion of my presentation, okay? All right. So, if you're new to guiding, one of the things you're going to find is people are going to be throwing all these acronyms at you. WAGGS, or they just say WAGS, BGGA, GAT, MDGs. All these things get thrown at you. And as you become more familiar and as you do more in guiding, you will find that they'll be spilling off your lips the same way in a couple of months, okay? So 10 million girls worldwide, these are all acronyms and words and numbers that you're going to be finding and that you're going to become familiar with. So let's talk a little bit about WAGS. And as I said, the letters is 3 Gs, and it stands for World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. And WAGS reaches 10 million girls and young women in 146 countries worldwide, all right, all over the globe. So we have Africa, we have Europe, we have the Arab group, we have the Asia Pacific, and the Western Hemisphere. And where does the Bahamas belong? Western Hemisphere, all right. And there we are. And WAGS was established back in 1940, and as I said, it has 45 about 45 member organizations. And as you see, I'm wearing a shirt that talks about the 35th WAGS leaders meeting. And sometimes you have groups that get kicked out because they don't do what they're supposed to do. As a part of this organization, just as a part of being a leader in our Bahamas Girl Guides Association, there are responsibilities that we have. And the our BGGA has responsibilities to the WAGS Association because we're under their umbrella. So there are things that we have to do, as well as the other 44 members that belong to that group. And if you do not, if you're not prepared to do those things, they can kick you out. And one of those things, actually, you, as leaders, you're going to have coming up soon, you're going to be asked to write a report on your unit. And that report is very important because those reports that you write, they are compiled by the chief commissioner, who then writes a report that goes back to WAGS and to the Western Hemisphere. And so if we're not compliant, we could have problems. And we have had our membership in WAGS since 1974, full membership. So that's a long time, right? I mean, that's pretty good. And we want to maintain that. All right, so WAGS' mission is to enable girls and young women to develop to their fullest potential as responsible citizens of the world. And we will find, and I'm going to go through a little bit of this, but the vision or the way that they're going to do this, get their mission out, has changed over the years, because they've been around a long time. So back in 2012, their vision statement, they wanted to have strong and growing member organizations. They were campaigning against violence, and you would have seen the Stop the Violence programs. They want to support their volunteers. They want to develop leaders. They want to give girls and young women a voice, which is very important. And they were celebrating the first ever International Day of the Girl. And they're also building sustainable partnerships. So this is all one of the focuses, or some of the focuses that they had between 2012 and 2014. So in 2015, the 3 main goals they had were leadership development and capacity building. So trying to grow the organization. They wanted to strong and growing member organization, revitalizing the movement. How many times we go out and people say, Girl Guide's still around? You know? And sometimes it's kind of embarrassing because we've been here a long time, we've been doing a lot of work, but sometimes people still say, well, we don't see you. And so that was one of the important things that they wanted to do in 2015. And then the third thing was the voice of girls and young women building a better world. And of course, as we talk about these goals, and you talk about what you're doing in your meetings, these are things that we want to see coming through. So then we had the Global Action Theme, or GAT, which talked about together we can change our world. And then we had the Millennium Development Goals, or the MDGs. And then the GATT was replaced, the GATT replaced our rights, our responsibilities back in 2009. So you can see how WISE has been trying to give us focus. Every couple of years, the focus changes, or it expands to include even more in-depth ways to help our girls. And of course, all of this stuff is on the WISE website, so lots of information. They have lots of resources for leaders. And we come to the Bahamas Girl Guides Association. And as a member, it's good to know what the mission and vision of the organization that you belong to, what it is that they want to do, so that you can be a part of it. And for us, it's to provide opportunities for the development of girls and young women to build self-esteem, to develop positive attitudes, and to become contributing citizens both national and internationally. That's a mouthful, eh? But once again, build self-esteem. We talk about helping girls to, Mrs. McCrae, Trainer McCrae talked about how we get girls, we talk about just the beauty on the outside, whereas as opposed to character and personality. You know, it's not about what you look like on the outside only. And some girls need to build self-esteem because, well, maybe I'm not as pretty in quotation marks as somebody else, or as light-skinned or whatever. But the whole idea is to help them to build self-esteem so they do feel good about themselves. The vision is to make the Bahamas Girl Guides Association the organization of choice for girls and young women. And we continue to work on that. 2015 was our 100th anniversary, and yes, we continue to work towards fulfilling that vision. So 2015, Together We Can Change Our World, we saw the GATT badges, End Poverty. We talked about education for girls and boys everywhere. These are some of the themes that we had for our Thinking Day themes, and then that followed throughout the whole year. About planting trees and farming. We talked about maternal health. So all of those things, and those resource material, they're still on the website, on the WISE website, so you can still go there and use those to build your meetings and take portions of it and, you know, break it down a little bit, but you can still take advantage of those resources. And of course, back in 2014 was a big one where we talked about education for every boy and girl. So now we're into 2015, 2017. We're moving forward. And we, again, on our way to Vision 2020 is what they're calling it now. So they're working their way up. I tell you, as WISE is very prepared, they worked with the United Nations, and they really pull really good positive programs together, and they put it all there on the website, so all you have to do is go there, get it down, use it. And so their themes now are connect, grow, and impact. And these are getting our member organizations involved, and a lot of us have we've talked about the connect. So more in-depth detail would be on the website. All right, so the Global Strategic Plan for 2015-2017. Outcome 1, they're looking at increase and diversified membership. They want to see 20% more members. That means 9 new member organizations. That's what WISE is focusing on. They want building capacity of existing MOs. That means that they want to see the Bahamas go from, I think we have a little over 3,000. They want us to move up. They want us to get 4,000, 5,000 members. Increase organizational membership. So from 145 MOs to 157, and this is all by 2020. And then new pathways to membership. New pathways of membership, and I'm not getting into that one, not touching it. Outcome 2, we have improved image and visibility of girl guiding. And of course, in the Bahamas, we've been really working at that. Our leadership has been working to get us out there, get us in the newspapers. We've had several projects that we've been working on, and you would have seen several layouts in the media, in the local newspapers, and on TV. So we've been working at that, just helping people to understand that yes, Bahamas Girl Guides, we are still here, we're still going, we're still doing. Influence issues that affect girls and young women. And that means that yes, we do have to, we don't want to be political, but we do want to make our girls aware of situations that will impact them. Gender equality is a very big thing. It's been going on. I think we're going to continue to see it for a while. Strengthen the equality of Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting experience. And then we want to build leadership capacity at every level. And that is why you guys are here. And that's why we're doing this training. See, Bahamas Girl Guides, we're working with WIGES, right? Yes. And of course, increased funding. Not touching that one either. Okay. Influence issues that affect girls and young women, and we said that before, we're doing that. Okay? And these are all programs that are on the WIGES website. Voices Against Violence, The Girl I Want to See, Surf Smart, AIDS curriculum badges. These are all things that are affecting our girls. These are all things that the WIGES website is there and available to help you pull the material together. You don't have to do all the research on your own. They've done a lot of it for you. And then we come to fun things about WIGES. I'm sure all of you know about the World Centers, right? And we have a new World Center. Anybody familiar with that? Yeah? Nobody? You guys haven't heard about the new World Center? There used to be 4. Now we have 5. So what are the World Centers? World Centers, anybody want to take that on? Anybody ever even thought about what a World Center is? No? World Centers are actually places that are guide-oriented. You don't have to be a guide to go there, but if you want, you can take your family there. The Western Hemisphere, each hemisphere basically has their own. For us, the Western Hemisphere, it's Mexico, we had some girls from our local community travel to Pax Lodge and get to spend some time there. They actually create activities that the girls can get involved in, and adults and leaders that can get involved in, and they can learn about what's happening in those same curriculum badges, the same focus that WIGES has. They create programs, and you can go there and you can get immersed. You can interact with other guides and rangers from other parts of the world. But the newest one is in Africa. I'm not going to say what that, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that word, but it's in Africa. It's actually a roving center, so it's moving from one place to another in Africa. Okay, signs and symbols, and some of these you would have heard about already, but we'll talk about the ones that you haven't. This is the World Badge. You see the guides wearing it on the back of their scarf, and everything in guiding means something. Everything. You may not realize it at first, but everything in guiding means something. And this trefoil is used on the World Badge, as I said, and it's a unifying symbol for the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. And the golden trefoil on the bright blue background represents the sun shining over the children of the world. Isn't that nice? The 3 leaves represent the threefold promise, and we've seen that represented in various different symbols. The base of the stalk represents the flame of love, of the love of humanity, and the vein pointing upwards through the center of the trefoil represents the compass needle pointing the way, once again guiding, right? And the 2 stars represent the promise and the law. And of course, the world flag, we use it on our marches. The white blaze here in this lower corner represents WIGES' commitment to peace. And the 3 golden blocks symbolizing, once again, the threefold promise. And it's used everywhere in guiding. At the World Centers, we use it on our marches sometimes. And I love our presenter, Trainer McCray. I love her presentation of this, the way she said it. So we're back to this. You've heard it, the left hand shake. Peace is a very big thing in guiding. We talk about peace, we talk about unity a lot in guiding. And that left hand shake really is important. It really represents something. So try to use it when you meet your fellow sisters in guiding out in public and whatnot. All right, and we've spoken about our salute. And our motto, be prepared, actually comes from Lord Baden-Powell. So that's why we get that. That's how we get that. And we've talked about the good turn that we use mostly with the brownies, but we wanted to follow through as the girls go up through guiding in guides and in ranges, and of course as leaders. Caribbean Link. Caribbean Link is all of the Caribbean countries, and we have 21 of them throughout the Caribbean, and these include associations from independent countries as well as British overseas territories. This was created back in 1958, and we actually have a Caribbean Link Day. I know we probably don't hear a lot about it, but April 22nd is actually Caribbean Link Day, and it's a time when we get together with our, not necessarily together, but we do things with our sister organizations in the Caribbean. Why do we have a Caribbean Link? The goal was to deal with matters of main interest, particularly to our area of training. Caribbean Link does several trainings throughout the year, and people from our association will go, but the whole idea is that we are the Caribbean. Lots of things are different for us than it is for England or Europe. So our Caribbean Link is there to help us to focus on or give us our little West Indian flavor. Bring it back to home. This is what's important to us in the Bahamas. We were talking about, we had a snow fight with newspaper balls, but there you go, that's how we have to then change the things that we may have sent down to us and make it our own. All right, so those are the links for WAGs. There's a Girl Guide YouTube page. There's a Girl Guide Facebook page. And if we're gonna we have to stay connected at home first. So your meetings, you can send your pictures, you can send your videos, you can share ideas that you have with the rest of your sister leaders, so that each unit can be made stronger by sharing what is working well in your area. Policy, organization, and rules. No matter what organization you're in, there have to be some guidelines, correct? Correct. Some standards, right? Absolutely. All right. So policy, organization, and rules. Basically, it's handed down from the founders. It's rules, I guess, versus regulations. And of course, we talk about guiding as a game. So we're going to look at these. The first thing I want to say is Section 1. Policy, organization, and rules is like, it's a document. It doesn't read like lawyer language, but it is a pretty large document, but you do need to be familiar with it. Policy. The policy section, statements that govern the management and operation of the association, as well as its principles, its membership, and relations. All right, so we have the organization part, which is Section 2, and it just talks about who's at the head, who's at the bottom, what's the organizational structure, what are the role and responsibilities of the members, what are the role and responsibilities of the council and executive, and of course there are descriptions of each section of the uniform branch. Then we have section, this is what our org chart looks like. The council basically is overall. We have the executive on one side, and then we have the chief commissioner on the other side. The chief commissioner is responsible for the uniform branch, and council and well, the executive committee basically handles the non-uniform branch. Section 3, which is rules, are really the guidelines that ensure the maintenance of a given standard. Awarding warrants, licenses, safety, wearing of the uniform. Thank you all again so much for your patience, for your attention, and we will be presently going on to our next section.